Welcome back to another long-awaited episode of Humberlievable Podcast. It's been a while since Heidi and I have been together on this. That's my fault. So today's episode, I'm joined by the lovely Heidi, and we're going to talk all things going full-time property. So you would have listened on some of the previous podcasts that Heidi was taking the plunge to go full-time, and that moment is finally here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's terrifying. First of all, he said I'm lovely, so I'm going to take that. Second of all, I've half lost my voice, so if I sound a bit weird, that's what's happened. I'm in the middle of the plunge. So, I thought it'd be worth, while I'm still in a secure job, talking about my plans for the first few weeks of what I'm going to do, really.
Yeah, I think it'd be key to highlight as well what sort of things you put in action in order to be able to sustain life outside of work, because things change. People sort of see it as the golden light, or the best thing that they can do. They think they've got enough money, and then obviously if something shit hits the fan in their business, the money that's in there, they might not be able to sustain their home life. So it'd be good to learn what things you put in place in order to be able to take that plunge and go full time. So why don't you just give us an update on where you are at the minute?
Yeah, so I've not taken this decision lightly at all. I replaced my income, my salary within 10 months of doing property. My business was really weak. And everyone was like, why don't you just quit your job? And I was like, because I've worked 14 years in this industry to build up this career. So for those that don't know, I'm a contract manager for shelter, and I manage accommodation contracts for the Ministry of Justice. So £4 million for contracts. Quite a serious job. My team house like sex offenders, rapists, paedophiles, loads of different naughty people, basically. And I've got 2 young kids, so I haven't made this decision lightly. So I replaced my income quite quickly. And then my mate was like, why don't you get some savings? So I was like, oh, fucking didn't think of that. So I spent the first year clearing my credit cards, then getting savings, and then minimizing all the excuses I had. So first of all, it was replace my salary. Then it was get the expenditure I wanted. So like I got myself a van, all the overheads covered my business. Then I got my savings. My husband got promotion, which again give us a bit more of a buffer we didn't expect. So I've mitigated all the concerns I had to the point I was running out of excuses. Then what I did was sort of again minimized all of the risks and stuff, and it was actually stopping the growth of the business. So I either could have burnt out and took on more and became more secure, or I could have made the decision to go and grow the business. So there's deals I haven't been taking on. I've been prolonging them because, again, I can't do everything. So, yeah, I made that decision to sort of go, the time is now, basically. So I've got 8 working days left at this point.
Not that you're counting.
No, I might have less actually now.
8 working days. One more pay packet.
What day is it? Wednesday.
The 3rd.
Thursday, Friday. Got 6 working days.
6 working days. Perfect.
Yeah, 1 pay packet left, but it's half a pay packet, and I took more annual leave. So this month I've actually took my business income and put it in so I've paid my first month already in my business salary. So yeah, half a pay packet left.
Perfect. And I guess part of this podcast is giving value. And can you talk to us about what you did to be able to replace your income? So for those who don't know you, just share some information on what you've done in property to be able to replace that income and exceed that.
So everybody obviously wants to be some big time millionaire straight away. I've seen social medias of, I bought 28 properties in the first year and now I'm a bazillionaire. And I was like, what the fuck? All I did was focus on cash flow strategies to replace my income. So I focused on rent to HMOs. So for those that don't know, it's basically utilizing somebody else's HMO, offering them renting the rooms out, getting the profit in the middle. So I did that several times. I also do that with serviced accommodation. So they're the main 2 strategies. I de-risk the portfolio. So I offer guaranteed rent. I also offer profit shares. So basically profit share is you get your income coming in. You give the landlord the mortgage and the utilities, split the profit 50-50. And then I also offer management as well only. So it de-risks it. I've then did deal packaging, which gives us lumps of cash. So I paid my credit card off with lumps of cash. So like $3,000 every time I sold a deal or I co-sourced with somebody else, it's half that. Just to top it up as well, I do a bit of coaching and mentoring. I run a networking event. So I got about 6 streams of income. And I don't mean, oh, look at me, I'm a millionaire. It just basically, if one goes to shit, I've got a couple more to rely on. So I pretty much did that. The goals going forward. So I wanted to replace my income by the time my little one went to school. I've got another year left. But I still feel that uncertainty of I don't own the properties and the rug could get pulled under me at any point. They can't because I've got contracts, but it feels like that. So the next goal for me is to do everything I've just done, but with properties I own.
So is that just to buy HMOs, or do you mean JV with someone and then offer them guaranteed rent and run it as the management? How do you mean?
So like basically, so I'd like to own the properties. So if I could replace all of the properties I currently have with owned properties, happy days. I'm negotiating. I don't want to jinx myself. I'm negotiating on a big block of flats at the minute. Whether or not that comes out and works as a deal, that's basically achieved that goal in one deal. If I can get that.
Can you share more info on that? You don't have to give location, that maybe just some high level figures.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx myself, but fuck it. Well, why not? It's basically a £2 million block of flats.
So not a lot then.
No, yes, it's not a lot. Block of flats. I've got bridging on it, JV partner possibly, and if not, I've asked for vendor finance. They've not said no to vendor finance, and basically, if I can pull this off, I think that the block cash flows at 11 grand a month. Obviously that's not all profit, but the profit would replace my income, double my income. So if I can get that one deal, I can just retire off that one deal. I wouldn't, because I'm a nutcase, I'll probably want a 10 of them, but if I can do that, happy days. I don't know whether it'll come under.
So you getting that at a discount then in order to be able to bridge it and maybe refinance out, or is that how it's looking?
Yeah. So we've gone for below market value, not loads. I don't want to take the pick. Below market value, possible title split in refinance.
Okay.
That's the plan. That's if I can replace what I've just done. I'm not going to say I'll get rid of my rent to rents, but I'll feel more secure that I've got an asset working for me rather than not.
Yeah. Well, you can have that asset over the side, still focus on the rent to rents and grow that. But like I say, if one or two gets pulled from beneath you or you decide to hand back, you still have that income covered through another stream. And then you'll be able to use that compounded cash flow from the both to then go and buy assets more aggressively.
Yeah. So with me as well, I've split it up into phases of my life. So
even older, and fucking hell, I'm getting there.
Zimmer frame.
Yeah.
So the first, because people go, I want to buy blocks of flats now, I want to buy a HMO now, I want to do this for my first deal, commercial conversion, and they don't do the little bit. I knew I had to replace my income, done it, replace my income with stuff I own, and then I can decide what phase 3 is. I don't have to decide now. I'm still young enough to make mistakes and just make it work. If I wake up on my first day of property and just run the business, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that though, because I want that certainty. Got to feed me kids and stuff. So yeah, I've come up with a little bit of a plan to see me through so I don't flounder.
Well, I think that's important as well, isn't it? Having the goals, a plan, action points, because then you have that sort of clear objective of where you want to get to. I'd say for the last probably 10 months, I've not had many goals. Things have changed. So I've had like no focus. Well, not a great deal of focus in property. Like I started off real strong 2020 to probably beginning of 23. And then it's just sort of dipped off. So yeah, it's important to have them goals and objectives and everything like that. But yeah, it seems like, you're doing extremely well. Always see the highs and the lows. You're one of the good ones that puts the lows on social media as well, as
Hopefully
opposed to
low.
everyone who's got one rent to rent 86,000 units in one deal and now has 3 Lamborghinis. That's the sort of shit you see on Facebook. But no, you are real on that. So obviously it's quite nerve-wracking. Like you say, you always sort of got to account for every eventuality. But how much time does this give you then to be able to focus on these deals, and how are you going to sort of spread your time?
So technically, I've got 34 hours of my week back. And what I've done, have you ever read 12-week year?
No.
No. So that's so I
Is it Jim
basically.
Rohn or Brian Tracy or something like that?
Oh God, don't know. I'll get it. It's here. Hang on. Those that are watching the YouTube
Brian
channel,
P. Morgan and Michael Lennington.
this one. Yes.
Um,
Brian P. Morgan and Michael Lennington. So 12-week year. I think I'm going to have to read this 4 times, basically, to get it into my head. But basically, it says, don't just have annual goals, have 12 weekly goals, and it'll give you more action taking than you would do if you set yourself yearly goals. And I've tried yearly goals and failed. So I'm trying this. I know my first day, I'm going to wake up and shit myself and just go, oh, fucking hell, what have I done? What a dickhead. So I've booked to go out for dinner with my self-employed mates and just go, help me on my first day flounder while I figure out what I'm doing. I always said I'd watch Netflix on my first day in property, but there's still time.
yeah.
I
No,
will do
and
that.
it is it's tricky. Like, I went full time in property for 18 months and then I've gone back to the job. I don't regret it. Obviously, I went down the lettings and management route, grew the business to a certain point. We decided to sell it. That was the stream of income. I didn't have the income streams through property elsewhere. Obviously, I've got investments and developments, they're all JVs, and they're not all higher cash flowing. Our focus was building assets, having assets as opposed to the cash flow because it was a long term. So we weren't there. So, but yeah, I would say like some days, and this is some advice I did on a podcast with someone else, one of my mates. He was like, you don't have your boss breathing down your neck, so you have to be that boss breathing down your own neck. And sometimes it's hard to like stay 100% motivated and focus to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean?
See, I think that'd be worse, My actual real boss that I've got now doesn't breathe down my neck. I am the breather of the necker. If that makes sense. So I'm the at work. But like for me, I'm at risk of doing too much and burning out, because that's what I'm like. I will feel like I'm not doing enough because I've been doing it around a full-time job for 2 years, that I will feel I'll have to absolutely burn out to feel like I'm achieving. So I've created this little plan where I've structured my day around health, well-being, exercise, friends, and I will do business, but I don't need to do 10 hours of business a day. That's ridiculous.
I think sort of setting out what you need to achieve, that, like you say, the weekly goals, right? Here's what I need to do this week. And as long as you get it done, obviously there's going to be reactive stuff. A deal might come in, an issue with tenants, but again, I guess having processes and systems and stuff like that in place that will allow you to scale and grow effectively. So
see, I don't like tenants. I don't really like SA. I don't like I don't like people. Which is funny because I have a podcast and I host events and I am in a people business, but I don't like being reactive. It like spikes my anxiety. I don't like the work phone. I don't like tenant guests annoy me like so much. I want to be that investor that goes, oh, I've bought an asset, somebody else have it, whether that's going to be a rent person or a management company or an employee. I don't want to be in the business. And people always go, oh, are you going to be a control freak that won't no, I won't take what you want off me. And I've done that already with employees and stuff. But I feel like you have to be in your business first to understand what it's about and learn and grow and develop. But eventually I don't want to do anything. So if these block of flats come off, I'll keep the management company. I don't want to manage it because I don't want to deal with shite. So my life that I want to have isn't running a business. I don't need to be like a CEO or a millionaire or whatever. I literally just want to go paddleboarding every day. So all my systems for the past 2 years, I've basically got some great software for the HMOs, some great processes where it runs itself in a way.
Yeah.
And same with the serviced accommodation. I've got great software. So we have Guesty and Price Labs. So it automates all of the comms. It automates the nightly rates. The cleaners are automated. And then I just have to go once a month, have a look at the property and go, I'm happy with the condition, and then make some improvements. So the last 2 years I've been spent expanding the business, putting in the processes. And then for the first couple of months, I'm going to be like, how much time does this actually take on a daily basis, and track and record what I'm doing, and then just keep making improvements, really.
There's a good thingy that Sarah Point and Ryan went through the other day, weren't there, about what tracks your screen time.
Yeah, can you remember what the app is? So for those that don't know, you'll have to show me that. I run a property networking event, and Sarah Pontin Ryan was the speaker. She gave some great nuggets of wisdom, didn't she? What was that app that tracks your time?
So it's called Toggle. So basically
you
have it on your screen, and then it tracks what you're doing between tabs and stuff like that. Also, for those who want to do process charts and flow diagrams, whatever you call them, Lucid Chart was the free desktop thing, Lucid Chart. Then there was an AI generation thing for Canva. I think she said it's called Bulk Create. Haven't found it yet. And then for those sending out automated emails, I think it was called MailerLite. So MailerLite was their software. I mean, we've gone right off on a tangent here. Yeah, it's about email marketing. I use MailChimp, but
the thing is as well, what, like you were saying with your lettings, if I wanted to be a letting agent and get 100 units, I'll go and find them. But I don't want that. If I wanted to sell 200 deals a year, I'd come up with a process to do that, but I don't want to do that. If I wanted to take on loads more units, I can, but I don't want to do that. So controversially, I've spoken to a lot of people who built up rent-to-rent businesses and either sold them or give it up because it's a noisy, stressful ball ache of a business, and I'm using it as a tool. So I know that once I've achieved my cash flow, which I have, the deals that I've got coming through, I'll take on, and then I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be wasting my time on a business that isn't for the long term. I know someone who's got a great rent-to-rent business. They've got like 1,500 units, and that is their life, and they don't invest in property properly. I don't want that. I want that legacy and that asset. So again, I'm going to stop and go, that'll do for me. I'll keep the business running or give it to someone else, and then I'll invest.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I use sourcing as a tool to get into property. So I started sourcing, wanted to save up enough money in the business and use it to invest. I was fortunate. I saw some fucking unreal deals and ended up getting finance and joint venture on them. And then that's how I built my portfolio. Sourcing was, like I say, it's that tool, it's that vehicle to get to where you want to go. Sourcing is never something that I was always going to do. But if I can have that money there and the finance to keep going deals, I've got a track record now. I can find good deals, project manage, oversee refurbishments, everything from buy to lets, flips, commercial to residential conversions. So it's having that track record. Someone will look at you and say, right, she's secured this, she's done this. You're then more attractive in terms of investment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's things like that where you've got to use it as a vehicle. And from day one, I've always gone, I'm running a business. How can I run a business? What do I need to do? Expenditure, overheads, that sort of thing, rather than, I see a lot of people on Facebook doing 18-hour days and fucking about and promoting that lifestyle. And I just think, oh God, do you really want that though? Do you really want to wake up at 3 a.m. and scoop your kid up and doing deals with your kids? And it's like, no, like this Monday, I had my kiddo again because my mother-in-law's gone on holiday. And I was like, right, I've got Eliza all day. We're going to go to a swimming lesson. She'll want to go to the park. I took her to the shop, that sort of thing. Did a bit of playing. We did some puzzles. I did about an hour's worth of business, but some people would have, binned the kid off and done the business and got the deals and gone, oh, I've got a deal. And it's like, but you're doing it for them.
Yeah, don't neglect them in the process.
Yeah, don't neglect them in the process. And it's like, it's hard. But I think people get lost in their sort of trajectory of pretending that's what they want and getting absorbed in the social media thing, rather than going, actually, I'd rather fucking go paddleboarding every day for a tenner than twatting about with houses.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like when I did the lettings, that was so labor intensive, and yeah, we brought on a staff member and stuff, but initially it was just me. It was a job. I was trying to build it. I was doing it, like I wasn't doing anything. I had a business partner, like, but we were doing a lot. So my idea, what if thinking back now, I probably would have grown our own portfolio to probably 3, 4 times the units we had, and then set up the letting so it's self-sustainable from day one, and get a lettings manager in to run it. And I'm just, director. Right, what we're doing for marketing, what we're doing for advertising, how we're getting new properties, and then doing the strategic stuff.
Yeah.
I went too early, so that took a lot of time a lot of my time actually trying to run that and grow it. I'd probably rather just, well, I wouldn't do lettings again, but if I was to look at something, I'd probably look to acquire a business, invest in the business, be on the board, be a director, the strategic stuff, as opposed to starting directly from scratch. Property is different, it's still run as a business, but for me, like you say, it's that legacy. I want to just say to my kids one day, here you go, that's what I built for you. Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up.
Yeah. No, but just say that, here it is, like, continue it.
Yeah, it's that building generational wealth, isn't it? Like, and that's the thing is, I know with my kids, like if they fuck up school, they won't, but if they fuck up school, you're coming into the business. And I know in 10 years, I'm still going to have the business. In 15, 20, 25, 35 years, I'm still going to have this business. And this is the first tiny little bit of it that's given me the tools to get to this point. But like for the week, I've structured the week. So for those that haven't read this book, there's things called buffer blocks. So I used to spend genuinely 6 hours on my phone fucking about all day. And then I started tracking my time and going, actually, I spent most of that on Facebook, or most of that on WhatsApp, or most of that just twatting about. So buffer blocks are designed to basically get all your emails, WhatsApps and that done in 30 minutes, and then move your phone, get it off, get it on do not disturb, and then going down that route. And then it gives you 3 hours per week of fun, so piss off for 3 hours and do what you want. 3 hours of strategy, so working on the future of your business. Daily buffer blocks ×2 to get rid of the shite that eats up most of your day anyway. And then I've put in like 3 90-minute work blocks around the general running of the business. I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know how it goes. And then each week I'm going to review and go, that was a great week, a shit week. I want to improve on this. I didn't like that. I want to outsource this. I liked this bit. And then tweak it as the weeks goes on. And hopefully have a smashing week.
There's loads of different thingies. There's have you heard of Pomodoro?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that is 25-minute bursts and have a 10-minute break, 25, because they say your brain can only really process information in like 20, 25-minute chunks, and it gives you that focus. I've done it before, but then I think, well, I'm halfway through a fucking email, I'll just finish that, and then it throws the time out. So I'm not very organized. One of my like worst traits is being organized and on top of admin. Put me in front of people, thrive, took the hind legs off a donkey. The administrative shit just cannot do with. So like these things I need to be stricter. But like you say, it'll be interesting to know. What we'll do is like we could do like a monthly update where it's just like, how's your month been? Been paddleboarding 3 times. I've actually done 18 hours a day for the last 3 days because of it. Like, it'd be good to know with what you're putting in plan and your strategy and how you're doing. In terms of, we're going to do another podcast episode on mentorship and guidance and the benefits, coaching, all that shit. But in terms of what you're doing now, do you have guidance? I was listening to a podcast earlier, it's one of Rob Moore ones. He was speaking to Mark Tilbury.
Oh yeah.
Don't know the guy, but he's a famous entrepreneur, businessman in the UK. Probably going to subscribe to his YouTube channel now. But he one of the pieces of advice he said was like, so when he was younger, his mentor died at quite a young age, and he was like a top businessman. He said, my biggest regret is not having another one sooner, or a business partner to be able to, feed off and get that guidance and stuff like that. So are you going to have a business coach or mentor? I know you do it yourself, but
I've always had one, to be fair. So I do coaching and mentoring, and to coach and mentor, I have to do coaching and I have to be coached and mentored. So it's a bit like clinical supervision. If you're a counsellor, you have to have somebody coaching you because of the commitment you put into it and that sort of thing. So I've done like a qualification in coaching. And my coach and mentor, I have one, he's like a business life coach, but he's not in property. He has property, but I've not chosen him because he's property related. So
different perspective.
I've known him about 8 years, and I've known him through my current job, and he's trained all my team. He's trained me. I've done quite a lot of qualifications with him, and then I've just done this with him as well. So he's a great sounding board, to be fair. And I'm coached monthly because, again, if I want to grow and develop, I think it's important to have that sounding board. That's one, not your partner, not your friends, not your business friend. They're great to sort of chat and rant to and give you advice and guidance, but this is more, it's like a bit like a mirror coaching. Yeah. It's like him asking me structured questions and saying, okay, how do you feel about that then? Or what is stopping you progressing that? And you know the fucking answers. It's just having someone to know the answers with and
guide it out, yeah.
Having that space to acknowledge it. You've got to have that space. Like I do a lot on reflection, a lot of strategy, a lot of getting shite out of my brain onto Post-it notes, and then I sort of present it to him and go, right, what am I going to do with this now? If there's a problem or I perceive there a problem.
It's interesting. It's good, like you say, that there's a lot of value in it. You know, having that sort of guidance from someone else or a business partner. You know, I've had a business partner and our skill sets are different, but we work so well and have done. You know, and having that, like you say, the sounding board and I'm not sure on this. What's your advice? And having a different perspective. And like you say, you've got a business person, so they see things differently, but still have an understanding of the day to day and the challenges. And like you say, it's a sounding board. So if you're always complaining to your husband or something, that becomes like a negative thing in the house. When you do it to someone else, it's unbiased, isn't it? And then you're sort of keeping all the other areas or spaces safe, and you've just got that other safe space to rant and moan. And
yeah, well, I actually made Chris, the husband, a director recently. I don't think it is trying to sell his shares if anyone's interested.
I'll buy him at tenner.
No, they're worth 20.
20 quid, that's fine.
That's not bad. 20 quid. So yeah, we have conversations and we deep dive into it now. He's had no property training. All the property stuff we've done over the past 10 years has been myself. He's not got involved, or if he has, he just is trusted me. So he's very good at tech policy processes, even better than I am. And I'm better with the people and getting deals and strategy and finance and stuff. As much as we communicate well together, we don't. So I can't go to him, oh, I've had a bit of a shit day, or the so-and-so tenants wound me up, or fucking guesty or whatever. He'll see the emotional side of it, get defensive, and say, oh, we shouldn't have done that. Why did you? I wish I want in property and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. I don't want to have an emotional argument. I'm trying to have like a bit of a sounding board. And then I've got to explain, this is what I need from the conversation. And he's like, oh. So I think you always need a coach, a mentor, a guide, an objective friend. So if there's a problem, because there's always problems, having a look at that problem and going, this is what you do with it. What do you think? And having that time and freedom. I don't think you can really necessarily do that with your partner or your friends, and as well as
unless you're like both in it day to day and understand everything and can separate it and compartmentalize business and all that sort of shit. Like, yeah, different. But no, it's interesting. It's good that you're sharing some insight there. Like I said, there's probably a lot of people out there who are thinking about making a jump, and again, it's about doing it at the right time, mitigating risk. And you know, you've talked about mitigating risk, you know, what you did to be able to achieve you know, taking that leap and going full time and securing your income. Have you got any other advice to people out there who be thinking about it? Because for me, it depends. I'm gonna just throw my 2 pence in before you answer. I don't know why. Maybe I just want to get a word in edgeways. But you know, I suppose my piece of advice, it depends where you are in life and risk and reward, like your risk factors. You know, if you're 17, you fucking live at home with your parents, you've got no outgoings, and you've got, you know, college 3 days a week, 2 days spare, evenings, weekends, you can throw yourself into it. You can throw money at, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? you still live with your parents, they're still buying the food, you still got a bed to sleep in. Compared to if you're, our age, don't know the age difference, probably a few years.
Rude.
Yeah, me obviously older. You look well young. And then, we've got kids, mortgages, that sort of stuff. So the risk appetite is potentially far less, or you have to really de-risk and mitigate far more because there's a lot more at risk, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, I've known people who have jumped. People have said, "Oh, this will be the making of you." I fucking hope they're right, because I've known people who have worked in factories, replaced their income after 2 deals, and then done absolutely incredible. But they are young, they've got no kids, they, I think, lived at home. Like you said, they've absolutely fucking nailed it. And I've gone, oh God, that could have been me. But I had to make sure that I got my life to where I wanted it to be. My kids do competitive dancing, fucking fortune, if anyone knows. Massive, could be another mortgage what I pay in their activities. I didn't want to go, no, you can't do that. No, we can't go swimming. No, you can't have a donut. No, we're not going to the zoo. No, we're not going on holiday. I wanted to get and meet that threshold of lifestyle before I even thought about handing my notice in, because I don't want that. I don't want to be uncomfortable. Yes, I could be for a couple of months and everything's fine, but I didn't want that option.
Yeah.
I'd rather burn myself out doing 2 jobs than having a bit of shit for a couple of months and going, oh God, this is scary. I didn't want that. So I just went drag it out. So I dragged it out another 10 months. That decision.
I think you made the right decision.
Yeah. So I think you've got to do it for you at the right time, but also ask people. The amount of people, and I'm not precious. Yes, I'm a PPN host. Yes, we've got a podcast. Yes, I was a strategic leader, but I have no qualms going, fucking hell, can you give me some advice? Have you got any tips? I'm a bit scared, actually. I'm a bit worried. What do you want me to do? What can I do? Like, I've got no issues about asking for advice and support. So if you are in that position, don't go on your gut. That's fucking ridiculous. Actually plan and ask people.
Yeah, just going to wing it.
Well, like I was quitting my job and you was going back to work, and I was like, fucking hell, that's terrifying. Why are you going back to work? And then when you explained, like, lettings isn't for everybody, I think you've got to be a special type of person to enjoy that.
Yeah, it wasn't enjoyable at all.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable, and tenant viewings, and it's a fucking nightmare. But
I've learned a lot from that experience,
Exactly.
So I've taken a lot away from it, and I know that's not what I want to do. And like you say, like, the property side of things, I just want a massive portfolio of assets, whether that's 20, 50, 100, 200, depends where I go and scale and who I meet and whatever we do, and have it all managed. So I just get a shit ton of cash in the bank, and then that can sustain portion of my lifestyle, portion profit, tax, compartmentalize it, and like you say, live that normal life. But I'm not adverse to being in a job whilst I'm building that, because that's the security lifestyle. This is the building the wealth, and it's a long-term game property, isn't it?
And the thing is as well, like, if my brother and sister ever listen to this, maybe, they're 10 and 13 years older than me. So I always look and go, even if I fuck it up for 10 years, I can still do it again. If I have, and this is what I say to people in the
But they're happy you listen to that.
No, I always give them shit, because I told my brother to invest in property when I was 18. I went, why are you investing in property? And he's like, I'll just buy a fucking Audi. And he did. And I hope he is listening, actually. But he didn't. And it was it's fucking brilliant time 10, 15, 20 years ago or whatever, when he should have done it. So yeah, you've got to make sure it's the right choice for you. And you get the life you want. I'm happy to paddleboard, drop the kids at school, fuck about on a paddleboard for 5 hours, go and eat some cakes. I've burnt it off paddleboarding, pick the kids up from school, Netflix. I'm happy with that.
Sounds like a dream. What are you watching on Netflix at the minute?
Manifest. Have you seen it?
No.
Watch it. It's brilliant.
I just started watching The Bear on Amazon Prime. It's pretty good.
Oh, what's that?
It's about a top class chef. Basically, goes back and runs this little dingy sandwich deli shop in New York because his brother kills himself, and it's an absolute mess, and he's trying to turn it all around.
Is it a documentary, or is it like a pretend one?
Fiction? No, it's a fiction. It's sorry, Disney. It's on
Disney. Nice.
Yeah.
Right, I'll watch that after Manifest. But yeah, so in 20 years' time, when this podcast is still obviously going, people are like, what the fuck's Manifest?
They'll
Netflix
find
might
out.
exist for
Yeah,
people.
Netflix might not exist. You know, there's
What's
always things
Netflix?
disrupting. But listen, I think we'll call it a day there. So thanks for all your insight and sharing that with us. You know, what we'll do is we'll provide regular updates on whether you're grey, whether you're pulling your hair out, or whether you're, you
I've
know,
gone back to prison, but I'm
do,
on the other side.
doing a podcast from a paddleboard. Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah, just don't drop your laptop or your phone because that'll end the recording.
That's a good point.
Brilliant. Right then. So thanks for everyone who has listened. If you're following on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and for those listening on whether it's Spotify, Amazon, please leave some feedback, get in touch with us, subscribe, and give us a follow. So, you know, the more likes and follows we get, hopefully the sort of better guests that we can get on here and give you some more value.
Why
Thanks for
not?
listening.